Hello Convergers, Gundam Converge fans that is. So we're going to do an old and new mold of this Gundam Crossbone X1, chassis XMX1. Number 65 is from Wave 11 of Converge, and then number 194 is from Pound 13, that wave. So number 65 came out in 2013, and 194 came out in 2018. So 5 years of advancement or decline. I've noticed some of the newer ones look lamer than the early releases because I think they're trying to go for more cartoon look than high detail look. But we'll have to see at the end of this. We'll start with this one here. Fandom here is saying this showed up never in a cartoon show, just a manga, which is like a comic book. Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam. Where's the gum? Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, that's pretty nasty. 2013 gum. And what other robots are from this wave? Those are the other ones from the 11th wave, and some basic stats of the robot up here. Okay. So these early waves, they have these clear foot stand things, which I don't ever use because the things stand without them. This is the stand I'm talking about, and it's supposed to go around the back of the feet, but just blocks so much of the figure. It's literally like a tenth of this height, right? It's just maybe even more. So it just stands on its own, right? So it's kind of weird. Let me get a different angle here. Alright, let's take a look at this torso first. Okay, actually let's remove the head. So the neck itself is gray, it's got a round hole for the peg on the head. And then this is like a blue, but it's kind of like a semi-gloss. I can't say it's matte, but I can't say it's glossy either. What is cool to say is a tampo print of this logo. I don't know what that logo is, the Crossbone Vanguard maybe? And then a yellow vent here, and red. I don't know if this is the entrance to the thing. I think this has a core fighter, so which we should read about in a moment. I'll do it on the next figure. At the bottom of the feet, there's no peg hole because it has a silly foot stand. Mediocre details there. Some yellow vents there. Seems like this hand on this side is molded into the arm. Let me get that off the peg. Yeah, that's molded in. It's just painted on. But this one is missing a hand because it's probably on the weapon. Okay, so yeah, nice details around here. Yeah, the back thing has grooves, and then the backpack thing. Where'd the head go? So the head is really cool because it got these clear green eyes, and look at the detail behind that green. It looks like a circuit board almost. So very three-dimensional look to it, and then it's got some red paint in the front. I didn't expect these. I expected that, but alright, so maybe some cannons there. No paint up in there. And I think that says X something. It's kind of hard to make out. It's some sort of, they're trying to do the chassis code. Alright, so now the front end, we have this little set of antennae on a blue centerpiece, and that centerpiece has the skull and crossbones raised. Pretty nice. Looks good. These antennae are rigid, I think. They're going to break if they drop from a high distance, so be careful of that. Alright, so it's got these 4 thrusters in an X-shaped pattern. Unfortunately, there's no paint apps. The thrusters are just kind of recessed. You can add some black paint easily, though, because it is recessed. But this here, nice details, all grooved and everything like that. It's got an L-shaped peg. So, gotta go this way. Alright. So, it's kind of weird. It's not actually horizontal. Yeah. You might have to dip it in hot water, quickly throw it into the back, and then let it cool down, holding it in that position, and it'll straighten itself out forever. The head does have good articulation left and right because it's not colliding with anything. And then the pistol thing, I guess that's a pistol. It's quite unique looking, this weapon. And it's got the hand molded on, and it's painted very nicely, a different color, as you can see. Yeah, the pistol is interesting. It's got like two grips, one for the pistol, and maybe it's a beam saber. If you hold it here, maybe a saber comes out there. That's what I'm guessing. What is this? It's almost like a flintlock, or could it be held this way, maybe? There's a lot of weird things going on in this one, but there's a lot of cool details molded in. You know, textures for the grips and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm assuming, because the hand is in this direction, this is the orientation it's supposed to face. Oh, but look at this guard. It's going to collide with the arm a little bit. Let me pull this off here. So, yeah, alright. Now, I got to find a place on the torso where that thing doesn't collide. Yeah, it's colliding right now, but if I twist it, well, that's a good spot. Just down. It's still colliding with the side of the body, but not as bad as in the higher up position. Okay, and that clears the ground, so alright, well that's cool, very cool. So let me go back to this web page here so you can, if you're too lazy to look up fandom and this chassis number, here's the story behind it. Flying around Jupiter, it's actually called the F-97, but they gave him secret code chassis numbers. Alright, you could have paused and read that by now, so I'm going to close this screen out actually because I got these images here. So let's see, pound 13 wave. We got these other robots here. Oh, there's an X2 in the same wave, quite interesting. And then here are the stats of that guy. Yeah, 2018, I'm not going to chew on this gum. Oh yeah, and this is why. Yeah, that looks pretty gross. So the pound, well, after the first 20 waves, they move to a logical stand, which has a peg on it, and then there's a hole in the bottom of the foot. Careful not to cut the parts. So you'll see, yeah, the stand just makes more sense. It's just pegs in on one side, and there, you can see the whole robot instead of covering it with that clear one. I also like to label the stand so I know what kind of robot it is. Alright, well, looking at, again, let's get the head off, and actually let's try to break the arms loose from the paint. Yeah, this paint is stuck here. So I'm kind of twisting it left and right. Still has gray in the bottom for the neck. Okay. Hexagonal holes for the shoulder joints. Now this blue looks pretty matte. It doesn't look as glossy. So I think this is matte. That's like a semi-gloss maybe, or a satin. It's got nice yellow details up here. A little white hose or something there. No emblem here. Yellow here, red here. Some blue on the kneecaps, which wasn't on the other one. The yellow thrusters there, good. The red feet. Nice details again. It's got these like hooked ankle guard things. The back, you got minor details there. Backpack's quite, the torso is pretty plain, very plain. Alright, let's get an arm on here. So this arm has much more pronounced recesses on these armor plates or whatever those things are. Okay, now this hand here has a round hole and it does articulate, so that's good. This arm, I don't know if this hand's gonna come off. No, it does, nice. Yeah, so it's like a gunmetal color. There's a little metallic in that hand color, also in the elbows. And then the shoulders have a little yellow thruster detail, or vent detail. So, it seems like there's more paint taps going on in this one. Going to the head. Does it still have the green eyes? It does, but they're much smaller than that first casting. I can't tell if there's anything behind that green either. It's still shallow. But it still has the red printing here and here, and then the chin as well. And I think there's black right here as well. Okay, the back of the head. Unfortunately, the newer ones, they seem to skip the chassis code. Maybe they just couldn't do a good job of it, so they stopped trying altogether. Now, these antennae look a lot more narrow as far as how once they're spread apart. But this one here still has the skull and crossbone. Alright, so that pops on here. Okay. Now, this thing is a much better color-wise backpack. You know, it's dark gunmetal gray, which I think makes more sense for the thrusters, that is. And then obviously a white front end, and it's got a relatively simple looking shape to it that goes like this. Has a lot of friction going on. There's no way that's going to fall apart. Now it looks like we have two weapons. So this has this pistol looking thing again. So this must be the handle because it's round. Yeah, let's pop it in. And it doesn't collide with the torso or the hips, so you can pose this gun a lot better than the first one, right? Whether it's up or down, it's not colliding. But since I already have one with a pistol or a gun, I'm going to go with the sword. So the sword, it's a metallic pink paint. It's obviously very warped. I'll have to dip that in some hot water later and straighten it out. Yeah, round shaft, just a little bit of a hand guard here. It's kind of a plain looking sword actually, but since, again, I already have the pistol on the other one, I guess I'm going to dispose this one like this. Yeah. Alright, let's get these spinning. Okay, so one thing I was wondering, since this first mold has much bigger eyes, I think it's a lot cooler. Look at the difference of the eyes. Yeah, and then look at the torso. I like that this one has the printing on the torso, but overall this has more molded details, I think. Or just paint taps, you know. I like how the shoulders have the thrusters painted yellow, same with those cannons or whatever in the chest. Also the blue kneecaps, that's not over here. Let's see, going around to the back. Yeah, obviously the thruster on the newer one is better just because the paint, but also the molding. Look at the depth of the thruster on the newer one compared to the really shallow depth of this old one. Also the leg, these weird leg gauntlets, is thinner here, I think, than the thickness of the ones over here. Yeah, I just think in general, the newer one is the better one. It also includes two weapons, right? This one only has one. The only difference that I think makes you want to buy both is the fact that the head on this one I think is better because the eyes. I'm going to see if we can swap them out. So can we put the old head on the new body? Yes, you can. So that's the best of both worlds, I think, right there. The new body and the old head. Okay, well anyways, before I get it all mixed up permanently, I better put it all back. I did try to, I put this in hot water and I twisted and cooled it, but it reverted back to its crookedness. So these thrusters are just canted in this clockwise direction when they should really be like that. It's kind of annoying. This again is why I don't understand why they don't just have a round hole with a round peg. These weird shapes are just, they're stupid. They make it look bad, and it takes away some playability that they could have added for free. I don't consider these high-end models. I consider them toys that kids are probably buying to play with. Maybe. I don't know. They're priced cheap enough that I think children can actually afford to buy these with the allowance they get from their parents. These aren't all necessarily aimed for adults, I don't think. Okay, well I do have some other crossbones here. So I've got this X0 chassis. It's from an Ace magazine promotion, and it's got the cool crossbow itself. Skulls and crossbones on the chest and the head. Big eyes. Obviously it's chromed out. So it's not the same mold. In fact, actually, we probably want to compare these. So here's the old one. Well, theoretically, if this is an X0, it probably would have come before the X1s. So here's another X0, but number 239 in the Converge lineup. Same thing, skull and crossbones on the head, but they are different moldings. The newer one seems to have better. Well, it's a tough call again. I don't know if it's better or not. You'll have to. Let me hit focus. You'll have to pause and decide for yourself. And then the last one I have is called an X2, and this is number 66 from the Converge lineup. This definitely feels a bit muted, but it does have big red eyes, which I cannot focus on. Sorry, that's too dark. The antennae are totally different, and it's got this jousting weapon. Alright, so yeah, I feel like this actually has the worst details because maybe it's the paint is dark, it's hard to see what's going on. Alright, well anyways, I'm gonna let's do one spin of all of them, and you can pause and see which crossbone you like. So these two have the old style jetpack where they're really wide. This one and this one have the really thin, narrow type of jetpack. Yeah. So these are in the 200 range of the Converge lineup. These are the old first generation molds. So that's the difference. But yeah, the first generation ones have bigger eyes. So that's a plus. Okay, I think you've seen them spin enough. You can obviously pause and rewind, do what you will. I went and put this in hot water, try to get a little straighter, but can never get it perfect. So these two are cool. Clearly some differences occurred, you know, you can definitely understand why. The number of differences are in several years apart. They've made some advancements with the newer mold, but there's still some good stuff about the old mold. So maybe you want to pick up both like I did. Thank you for watching today. See you in the next Gundam Converge video.